Good morning, everyone. Everyone who joined this morning meditation. Good morning in Australia. Good afternoon in Ontario and Indiana, and so on, and also good morning in BC. So, the subject of the meditation and teaching today is Satipatthana, mindfulness practice based on Mindfulness Sutra. Particularly today we are going to practice mindfulness of mind, awareness of the mind. So I would like to say a few words in Tibetan. Tashi dele, daring as a peripunda, so the Pavala Shiragi, Shiragaujum, Tuji Shuai, daring ma Bejatia de the Tembanya Washawaji and Nane, Sem Tembanya Washawa, or to the calling it this chick, Mata, Shui, Matigi. ane di saso di endi kongla de nganzo gomji da robchi ji semtem banyawa yaba ji gomji yagi da dandana zondo tembanyawa yaba na semtem banyawa yaba sugi orwa ane tiwa chimbu che nganzo da kashoba de shirabji parado chimba yumji mo shirabji parado chimba getini yija cheba yina ane 자제 첨부 쓰고 당원도 자제 첨부 아니 셈semsemsem모 때 셈sem그 안신다 셈그 가르쳐다 셈 등에 다 셈그 안신스는데 셈 게네루 데 야부지 때지네 컴도 여기. So according to Satipatthana Sutra, it is called the mindfulness of mind and awareness of mind, understanding of the mind, and to see, trying to understand the true nature of the mind, and we meditate on it, and moment by moment look at our mind, observing our mind, and also according to Mahayana Sutra, Prajna Paramita Sutra, we have a meditation which is similar to mindfulness. Basically, it's the same practice, which is Mahamudra. And Semji Chuni, which means nature of the true nature of the mind, understanding of the true nature of the mind, to observe the mind and what is mind and what is happening in the mind, and so on. So it comes to the same platform or same junction or same place. Those are the same thing. There are, of course, different way of explaining, different methods, but the essence of the teaching on mindfulness of mind and Mahamudra are the same thing. So I will be talking about mindfulness of mind, and also I will explain on Mahamudra today. This afternoon, when I go through the Lojong teachings, I think I'd like to talk a little bit more about Mahamudra, because Lo is mind, right? Lojong, mind training, thought transformation. So at the moment, right this moment, I would like to now lead meditation on mindfulness of mind. And so you sit comfortably on meditation cushion. Keep your back straight, spine straight. This is important. Relax your body and relax your mind. Then we observe our mind. So this time, the subject of the meditation and the is the mind, and the object of meditation is mind. Observer is the mind. What you are observing is mind. Everything is mind. Basically, this is why it's called mindfulness or mind. So you sit and relax, and then you have to stay in the present moment. When we meditate on mindfulness of mind, we don't go back to the past. You sort of thinking, oh, what kind of mind did I have yesterday, or day before yesterday, or last month, and you don't go back to the past. Or you don't go to the future, thinking, oh, will I become enlightened or not, and what kind of mind would I have? Will my mind will increase or decrease, or what will happen to my mind, or so on, so on. That's not a way to do the practice. When we do mindfulness mind, you have to totally stay in the present moment. And when you do the Mahamudra meditation, you have to stay totally in the present moment, and present mind, and is observing the mind itself. And the present mind, the mind that we have right now, is the only mind that we have. And the thoughts that we have, thoughts that we had before, whatever you had, they are gone. They're gone now. They're not here yet. And today, tonight, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, what kind of mind you could have? You could have all kinds of minds, but they're not here. They're not here. You don't go there trying to predict something about your mind for future. There's no use for that. So only mind that we have is mind that we're now here. The observing mind, the observer is the mind. So this mind need to be resting this mind. First thing is you need to resting. Resting is important. Resting the mind in a natural state. The word natural state, which means just be here in the present moment, naturally, natural, not to elaborating, not to make any sort of alterations and going here and there. That's not natural. So stay in the present moment. Da ne pagitology huing semgi da semgi kaso sem demanya gomarwa te gombe kabla ne gombe yude semre gomgende semre today in the deve semla asamata yomare maumba sem kandi yungre hakwa yomare deve ji namdo ya da do kari chongwe dabmande shivu chong tharwa so to samadan do chare yomare tanda yuya semde tanda nil da gomjasa gomjangyen da jasa tanda rang yungin semde o de in the semde lulujin sem lulujin da tanda kaso neso injikela desigdo resting mind injikela resting mind sigdo resting sigdo karsebe yorosena neelsoni semde naso lulujide otuchin jebada ji namdo yaga do tindegi chi tenjumi o maje lulu sem lulujin tandan dagarang lusemin rewameba do deni o dingala do shinta karsota luluji ya shira yang lobujin ya yomo lulujin da kuba de maso tapa na kuba na chi dimbe shira ga chapo ji yabu shivu ji dimne de yomo ya lulu shivu ji lulu karsota cha nyumbu ji on sem lulu ji sem koran ten o du ji de are semot Simota Sidong Pogil, Simotas. In Tibetan, we have saying, looking at the nature of your mind, or in other words, you can say, observing the main nature of the mind. And so that's what we do. So now you sit and relax, and then resting your mind in the present moment. And whatever is happening in your mind, you observe that. If there's nothing happening in your mind other than your mind is being observer, and then stay with that. And whatever is happening in your mind, just observing, not to elaborate, not to interpret, not to judge. Do not judge good or bad, this and that. Just to know that this is just part of your mind. What do you do? Karisho de Mason de Gala, Namdo Karicevina, Yagata, Duga, Tele Avoid stage, Tele Anchi Namdo Yadi, Yabushu do City, Mountain, Diamare. Namdo Nembatin Sharavana, Numula Sobatin, Namdo Chechona, Telea, Dujareti, a woman to some magic Karishorta, Ma Mevaso at the Chig. Pia ta PSP ro ta patient min ta pa me was tindege samla ma da ta khora yangi zangi kari shana tel ene be cherji tes chaji chimbuchi na do cherji dus in ya go si tel tanyum ji ne tene ya da du samla ma da du si ta lo chi samota as o tindi chene tindi chewe ne kale singi rajin de Rajin the same nature the same go Senamando share it in ta ju Sangyor, she Galegal Yur. The name Majena changing me watching Gamma ya do Mongo, some of them they went in it, same with Nizu Shia cover it. I send Kanga Sim the true to your true, sim true. So otherwise, if you're analyzing your mind, judging your mind, then you are actually diluting your mind and you are speculating your mind so that your speculating mind itself is diluted and then you are diluting more. It's like you're stirring up the water as water in the pond. When you stir up the water in the pond, then all you see is muddy water. You don't see any clear water. You don't see pebbles inside the pond. You will not see fish, of course. You will not see any plants. You don't see the beauty of the water. It's like haiku. Ryokan, famous Japanese haiku master, said, "Old pond, mm, fish jumps in, sound of plop." Okay. Or he said another one. That was actually not Ryokan. It's a Basho's haiku. Old pond, fish jumps in, sound of plop. And Ryokan wrote another haiku, says, new pond, fish jumps in, no sound. Okay, so this is beautiful haiku. Haiku is, you write the moment, whatever happened right there, right this moment. You don't think what am I going to write? How do I write? That's not haiku. That's out of the haiku rules. Haiku has to be written spontaneously in the present moment. Basically, haiku is influenced by Zen teachings. So, new pond, frog jumps in, no sound. Just be like that, and it's beautiful, right? New pond, fish jumps in, no sound. What a beautiful. Still water, clean water, clear water, and frog jumps in. The frog is a beautiful animal and beautiful creature. And it's all interdependent. Frog need water, water need a frog, and they're all ecosystem and they're supporting each other. Likewise, when you look at your mind, whatever is happening, just observe. Okay? So this is what we're going to do now. We meditate on Samatha Mahamudra and the mindfulness of the mind. So today's meditation is a little bit shorter. I made it shorter because you notice it's not so simple, especially when you're practicing mindfulness of mind or observing your mind, which is much harder than mindfulness of breathing, much harder than mindfulness of body. It is much harder than mindfulness of feelings. Although feelings are also part of mind, especially if it's mindful feeling of the mind, right? But the method of the meditation, what we're trying to do here is stay quiet, stay calm, absolutely calm and clear, and in the present moment, and resting the mind, which is very hard to do, because when you're trying to resting your mind, what you're experiencing is a restless mind. You are not able to rest completely. And if you rest too much, you might fall, experience dullness. You might experience sinking mind. And so you are experiencing restless mind, unable to rest. So then you are, now what happened is not resting, but you are wrestling with your mind, right? So the English word resting and wrestling is two different, right? So here you're trying to wrestling your mind instead of resting the mind. And tala togeto le chigi tung shui dan do se semote sem ki chuni chikte sem de manyawa jiwa ji gombe gawla kala khawo yore kaisana unyo goya da durna shiraka le khawo unyo le lawore dan di sem de manyawa jiwa temba nyawa jiwa tang karshi urta de durina 어디 초대만에 녀와 야와데 단디니 심점만 녀와 야바니 넘도 들어이나 시작에 심점만 녀와 야와데 시라 검자 가보래 간데레 쉬어이나 심점만 녀와 야바 검도가 심도 르르 진 야보지 내선 되고 야보지 르르 엔 세보 또 신이 가서다 예세나 맨 땡세나 만도 대체적으로 딜레 하면도 샘데 가사칼라야 좀야 총자려고요. 총자시라고 전에네 바로 지라 당대체 당에 샘데 대로 지금도 야좀 아주 샘로로지 되면도 단데 검도 점마저 저는 펜도스 캔데도 펜도도 면도 좀 되게 가서 도바르지사 샘나한테 연구도 어떤데 이제 가보지요. 나 가보지요. 때 가고 열에 때 검자요 말씀 되게 말와 가보 매워지 가서 레라우지 거리나 레라우 요치네 요 말에 가서 땅에 벽에 대해 아버지 영문도 지자로 말을 너무 치면서 네 딜링이 바버지는 요 말에 가는 지부 지자님도 되더라 제 레라우드는 요 말, 최신이 다치 말에 개침을 내가 증인도 가르쳐보는 레라우지 요 말에 so what I'm saying here is anything that you do in a life is something that is important, and it's not an easy thing to do, especially if it's a spiritual practice. It's an advanced practice, and anything to do with your mind is not simple. Much harder than you think. It's not just simple awareness of the mind, because when you're trying to practice awareness mind, your mind is not here. Your mind is gone here and there, all over the place. So this is why we did a short meditation here, just kind of testing. Okay, first we'll do more. Now I would like to go to the sutra, Satipatthana Sutra itself. I will read through and give some explanation here. The long discourse of the Buddha, Digha Nikaya, okay, contemplation of mind, and how monks does a monk abide contemplating mind as mind. Here a monk knows lustful mind as lustful, a mind free from lust as free from lust, hating mind as hating mind, free from hate as free from hate, a deluded mind as a deluded, an undeluded mind as undeluded, a contracted mind as a contracted, a distracted mind as distracted, a developed mind as a developed, an undeveloped mind as an undeveloped, a surpassed mind as a surpassed, an unsurpassed mind, a concentrated mind as a concentrated mind, and unconcentrated mind as an unconcentrated mind, as a concentrated mind as concentrated. Yes, so now I'm repeating. A liberated mind as a liberated, an unliberated mind as a unliberated, so on, so on. So what the Buddha is saying, telling us, and so when you practice mindfulness of mind, this is how you have to look. He was talking to the monk, right? So this also could be anyone, novice monk, or fully ordained monk, or nun, bhikkhuni, or lay person. So monk knows lustful mind as lustful mind. So when you're sitting here meditating, then all of a sudden a lust or attachment rising. So that's the object of mindfulness or mind. Then you must know the lust or attachment is arising. To know that, just observing. Not trying to say, hey, this is bad, now I got attachment, now I got lust. Let's just get rid of this mind. I had enough with this. All my life I had lust and attachment. You don't do that. And otherwise you're not dealing with the mind. Otherwise you'll never know what is lustful mind, what is attachment, if you're trying to just get rid of it right away. And even though it is a lust, it is attachment, it is not very pleasant, but you have to know, right? And likewise, when a monk is experiencing unlustful mind or unattachment mind, kind of pure mind, a clean mind, a clear mind, then you have to also know. Just observe that and not trying to elaborate. I got unlustful mind, I got unattached mind. So therefore, I would like to now continue this mind of unattachment, unlustful mind. Continues, I'm going to extend this, keep extending. Then you are again distracting yourself, because you are altering your mind, and you are involving busy mind again, and then you are starting attachment to the non-attachment mind. So you begin to have attachment for non-attachment mind. You have lust towards unlustful mind. So then you are actually, what you're doing is you are contradicting with yourself, self-contradiction, right? Tangai poketo la jikshi tandu gomje galane tanda do tempa nyawa jawa dajak domba shachi to songdo inji tolnge di josho di poketo yugi yore and then the Gilung lose you, the Gilung Chinas, Gomjavakala, and then Docha Jevina, Docha Jesona, Docha Jesons, Tilas, Gomjan, Jores, and then Doja the Mevachan and Doja Mevacha song, so Tela, De Gomjavores, or to Sungwa, and then I hear any Kundro, Jesona, Kundro Jeson, Kundro de la Samada, Gomjan. Continue control condition. Take the control duty consideration. Just a duty consideration. Take it on Kali, Lola, Shaying Murwa. Tende my Tindi Shower Mother, control Java, the control Jesse, I want to control by you, Bijajam, Tindi control in Nilu de Unishigio, that can use Sarawa. And then Tindi Joma, Tindi Chena, and Temba Nyawa Java said, the same Temba Nyawa Java. Nyawa Jagayo Marwa. Nyawa Jasid, same day, Pajo Util, Ta Nivu, New Jim, Gomjan, Gomjava in Temba, Nyawa Jagwas, Nyawas Ta Nirdan, Otuchi. Then the youth has an near by Omaro, Utaro, Gom Otuchi. Otuchi. So here, Tibetan word is interesting for mindfulness. It's called Nyewar Japa. Nyewar means closer. You have to become closer and closer, not to operate of your hatred. Let's say your hatred mind arrives, and not to think, okay, this is hatred. I don't want hatred. I'm a Buddhist. I'm a meditator. I don't want to have hatred to anybody. You're not having hatred to anybody deliberately. Just arising is part of life, part of mind, arising, right? You might be become hate. You might be hating yourself. You don't have to hate anybody else. You're hating yourself, and so then Nyawa Japa means you have to look closer and closer to that nature of that hate. What does this mean? What does this hate is doing to me, and what does this hate is doing for other people? And this is then you realize this hate is harmful for me. Then once you realize the disadvantage of hatred, then naturally hatred, you will be able to disassociate yourself from hatred. You can abandon hatred. If you don't understand disadvantage of hatred, then you are just simply you're avoiding. You are become avoiding. What do you call it in English? You are become a wimp. Basically, you are kind of like running away from hatred. What the Pagetola Nejishui? That the Kundu de Jev, they lose Nyawasha, which some down. Then my Jeji Kundu Lamsa, you mention Kundu de Chodo Jawa, Chodo Jan, Danga, Kundu de Gumendus, Kundu Jan, Government, Chodo Jan. Then the Javin, Jaksa Yom, Kundu Susan Nang Yoro, Chodo Javagal, Soso Gawa Chodo Javin, Kundu de Yamdo Chodo Javu. So when you're running away with hatred, so hatred is with you. You can't run away from hatred, right? You can't run away with your own hatred. You can't run away with your own ignorance. You cannot run away with your own delusions. You could go up the mountains, you run away and sit in a cave, like a Milarepa, eating only nettles or spinach, and you can still have a hatred and sitting in a cave. You say, hating yourself, sitting in a cave. Why am I doing here? What the hell is this? Or you hate yourself eating only green stuff, and why am I eating only green? Or being a vegan or vegetarian, whatever I'm eating here, and what am I doing here? And you start hating yourself. You run away with your hatred, right? So you're not really working with hatred. So this is the whole point of meditation is you have to observe, you have to be closer and trying to experience the nature of the mind, true nature of the mind. So likewise here, developed mind, undeveloped mind, supervised mind, unsupervised mind, concentrated mind, unconcentrated mind, so on and so forth. There's all these non-virtuous mind and virtuous mind, indifferent mind, different kinds of mind, different kinds of thought arise, right? So the Buddha's advice is you look closely, meditate on that, not to run away, not to judge, not to trying to segregate, segregating the mind. Okay, now there's more advice here, teaching, which is what we call the insight meditation. So here, this is samatha, this is vipassana. Satipatthana Sutra explains samatha and vipassana both. Tandi do tempa nyawa jawa di tani ma lowe kabla rawa tan do tempa nyawa jawa karsungu yoresana ani shine che santu niga ma sungu yor karsungu kandesun sungu yoresana ta semgi chuni del te sem del te ne sem del te lolo che and gom jangi gom jangi semde semche Jasade semche, yude semche. Yude yujiniga semche, lolo je. Semge tone, and Tembanya wajibo duguyor. Semge tone, shine duguyor. Shine said, sem de shivache. Ne, dashi quantanero, sem ne, shine, sem shivache and deni, lolo de. Otu shine said, Otu shine, semge tone, shine duguyor. And Langtong te kandi dugurusen, semge tol tangbo, shine de du. Tene du sona tene semge chuni de yawo jiten, sem rajinja maduba, sem demba maduba. O tinde yunezu de yawo jishe sona, anita semge tene tone langtong de duguyo. Lak tong se, lakba de, lakba sal, lama de, karesene, shine du zanti gangla tuba. O de duya lak tong se, mixi gi tongya choro ta tongni ga dawa dogo sem chuni sem la sem man chi de sem je ran shin de sa wa de man ne lo wa ando na song do wa sem la sem man chi de sem je ran yin de sa de man ne lo wa ta sem la sem man chi de sem do gombe sem la gombe yin de sem sem khura ran yin je ma do wa re de ma do wa yin sa ne sem manches sungo yor ma sem yo mares sem des gomjin sem bela ni koya choya me tonya me tindi ki je mare ni jewe ni cheta sungo yor wa odo sem manches odo sem manches sem je rangi cheta loya ga wa yor sem je rangi hosa tindi sem je muni ni lu tatu de kare sena ene rangi de hosa wa 어서 찾을 전부 어디니다 어서 님의 거다 다외 거다 로고 되게 계시고요 말 어서 심지니로 야고 세보지 라진이 모르고 야고 또 인자는 될라 어서 와서요 어서 심지는 유서 주만은로 네가 영향 도자 시당 도모가 로고 와서 네가 용어마다 딱바 레시 디날베 되게 말이야. 양 누구요? 파용 주용 되는 누구로. 근데 이제는 이거 간디 지기어서는 알아줘라. 심지어 탐지 산지기를 열어. 어떤 이제는 어떨다 심기 남지 로다 가서 때 로리도 다리 나라요. 셀싱 리바 쉐베 신이 심기 신이데 가르치나 셀싱 리바스. 어떤 주변에 인지털 마시는 지금 말 미망체 kunzu chija sendang baba member shadarwa. So here the according Prajnaparamita Sutra states mind does not exist within the mind. The true nature of the mind is clear light. What does this mean? Mind does not exist within mind does not mean the mind is totally non-existent. Otherwise, you are going into nihilistic assumption or nihilistic view, experiencing, going into that direction. Mind does not exist, the mind. It means when you meditate on the mind, you experience the non-inherent existent mind. You will experience true nature of the mind, which is the emptiness of the mind, the shunyata of the mind. For that reason, mind does not exist within mind. So when you look at the mind, there is no inherent existence. Mind doesn't exist. There is no inherent existent mind hiding somewhere behind the mind or within the mind or outside of the mind or inside of the mind. Doesn't exist. That this is the meaning of mind doesn't exist within the mind. In Tibetan word, semla sem manche. Sem jiranji also sao, which means true nature of the mind is clear light. Now, this clear light is not light of the sun. It is not light of moon, not light of electricity. We're not talking about this kind of light. We're talking about true nature of the mind is shunyata, emptiness, and clear. And you can experience shunyata, glimpse of shunyata, and then you can experience you can have direct perception of shunyata. Then when you will see the nature of the mind is free of defilements, free of delusions. Your mind is like the empty sky. Your mind is like the clear water. Your mind is like the diamond, clear. I will explain that later. Anyway, okay, so this is the meaning. True nature of the mind is clear light. So according Pramana, we have a definition of the mind. When we were little boy monks studying in the monastery, beginning as a beginner, we study what we call Lorik and Tagrik Lorik. We debate about what is mind. We ask first question, what is mind? Little boy, big question, what is mind? Wow, how do you know? How do I know what is mind? Well, you're a little boy, but you got big mind. Little boys have a big mind. Little girls have big mind. Little babies got big mind. And they have fresh mind, Zen mind, beginner's mind, kind of, right? So what is the definition of mind? Definition of mind, according to Lorik, says, according to Pramana, Salshing Rikpa. Salshing Rikpa. Salshing means clear. Rikpa is knower. In Tibetan word is Salshing means clear. Rikpa is knower. So the mind is, nature of the mind is always clear and always knower. You know something. Even if you think I'm the most deluded person on earth, I'm most a dull-minded person, I'm most stupid person, but at least you know that you are stupid. You know, at least you know you're dull-minded. At least you know you are not very smart. You're knowing something, right? And you know something, and you're experiencing that. You're admitting that, which is better than saying, "Oh, I know everything," being arrogant, right? Being humble and saying, "I'm ignorant." Well, usually people who say I'm ignorant, they're not ignorant. Well, usually people who say I'm stupid, they're not stupid. They're just being humble, modesty, right? So, so the definition of mind is clear and knower, clear knower. So, okay, I will leave it there. So now, the insight here, insight. So he abides contemplating mind as a mind internally. He abides contemplating mind as a mind internally. So Buddha is saying that monk should meditate internally, contemplate on the mind as in the mind, nothing else. Mind is just mind, internally or externally. He abides contemplating arising phenomena in the mind. So this is very important now. This is really Mahamudra. You are sitting here and observing your mind, and you experience a rising mind, thoughts arising. in your mind. And he abides contemplating rising phenomena in the mind, or else mindfulness that there is mind is present just to the extent necessary for knowledge and awareness. So when you do mindfulness of mind, you're sitting here, then you see the arising mind. And not the same time, very same moment. What I mean is, when you see the mind thought arise, already arised, gone. What you see, the observer is, the observer mind is experienced, mind that is experienced the second moment of the first moment. First moment, mind thought arise. Now you experience the second moment. You say, thought arise. But that thought is not there. It's already gone, right? You observe that is gone. According to Mahamudra, we talk about the tail of the tigers, tail of the cat. You see the tail and, sweet cat, beautiful cat, came and gone. You see the tail of a cougar, tail of a tiger in the forest. I saw the tail of the tiger, now gone. I think that was a tiger. I think that was a cougar. It's not a deer. I had an experience like that myself around here where I live. One night I was driving up to the temple. I saw animal crossing the road. And what is that? That's a deer? No, can't be a deer. He's got long tail. My goodness, this is a cougar. At least I'm driving the car. I'm not walking. And my fear of mind arise. Here I got chance to observe my mind of fear. But then I realized I don't have to have fear. I'm inside the car. I'm moving. Again, another kind of thought arise. So there is my chance to practice mind Mahamudra of cougar or fear of cougar, right? Puma. And anyway, so now go back to the sutra. He abides detached and not grasping to anything in the world. So, and that monk is how a monk abides contemplating mind as a mind. So, whatever thought you ever arise, the Buddha is suggesting to the monk or nun or the lay person, you at some point you will experience detachment as long as you are meditating. And that is the point, that is the goal. And you don't have to combat right away saying, I want to get rid of all the attachments. And if as long as you are meditating, cultivating mindfulness, you will experience detachment naturally. This is why meditate. Keep meditating. Hang on there. There will be end of the light. Okay, it's like COVID. Hang on there. Don't get the virus. There will be end of the light. Soon we will find solutions. There are lots of good news, and not everything's bad. So that's the sutra. I read the sutra there. Okay, now I will go to Mahamudra. Okay, Mahamudra is, as I said, mindfulness of mind. So I will read part of my book. Here is my book. Most of you have, many of you have seen my book. And Mahamudra, Geluk Mahamudra, eloquent speech of Manjushri, and with a beautiful illustration of Lama Tsongkhapa in front, done by the artist is Ben Christian. So this book is available on Amazon.com. Mahamudra. Mahamudra practice is always good to start with the question about question what is mind. Okay, so so this is a Giluk Mahamudra. Usually, Mahamudra practice is very popular in the Kagyu tradition, Karma Kagyu tradition, Devum Kagyu tradition, Rupa Kagyu tradition. In the Gelug tradition also, we have lots of teachings on Mahamudra. First, Panchen Lama Losang Chuji Jalsen, he was the pioneer, he was the most important Mahamudra teacher in the Gelug tradition. This is why we call Gelug Mahamudra. Gandhian Kagyu Chaji Chambu. So I should say a few words. Then the same temple Nyawa Jaba Gongorwa, then the government Kalani, Chaji Chambu de Jixiana Yavudu Samudo, Kaisana, Simji, Chaji Chambu said that. Singu chuni gonguyara de chaji chimbo de la de ore shinegi chaji chimbo de tumbanyi chaji chimbo ni diga la nga chaji chimbo sum yore rimba de masona rimba sum odu se ta tambo shinegi chaji chimbo se de nan dingi devchi nani ma tamre de inji zola jusha yo de sirona tungdo yo na amazon.com na la order dana dana yore. So here, the outline is traditionally when studying Mahamudra, there has been two approaches. Seeking meditative samadhi after gaining the correct view first, or seeking the correct view after having gained meditative samadhi. Lama Jitongkapa and the first Panchen Lama taught the later method. And I am following that method. So, according to Mahamudra tradition, you could first seek or meditate on the correct view, trying to understand the Shunyata, then you practice Samatha Mahamudra. Or the other way around, first you practice Samatha Mahamudra and settle your mind, develop the concentration, mindfulness, Samatha, and then you practice correct view of Mahamudra, the Vipassana Mahamudra. First you develop Samatha Mahamudra, then Vipassana Mahamudra. So when you practice Vipassana Mahamudra, Samatha Mahamudra, then you have to first, you have to meditate on the mind, right? I mean, when you do Samatha Mahamudra, the subject is the mind, object is also mind. So then, in order to do meditation on mind and develop Samatha Mahamudra, first you have to have some understanding of the mind. Otherwise, it's difficult to meditate because in the West, Western people, and generally speaking, don't know the difference between the mind and the brain. And when they talk about mind, it's in the brain somewhere. And when the brain is dead, the mind is dead, right? And they don't have not much explanation, especially scientists, people have no clue about what is mind. And they keep talking about there's no scientific proof, therefore, and not relevant. So, they don't have, not much explanation. There are some Western theologians and so on and so forth. So first you have to ask question about what is mind. In Mahamudra practice, it is always good to start with question, what is mind? Okay. The ultimate nature of the mind is clear light, as I said before. Defilements are temporary. Mind is not within the mind, but it is clear light. Mind has no beginning, no end. All phenomena are manifested or produced from the mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha and all the great masters. So, mind has no beginning because you never find the beginning of mind and you will never find the end of the mind. Even the Buddha never said, what is the beginning of mind? Buddha never said, where's the end of the mind? There is no beginning, no end of the mind. And a mind is free of defilement, but only temporarily. the mind is defiled. And the other interesting or important thing is all phenomena, whole world is part of our mind, produced by the mind and our perception. And here we have different schools of Buddhism. Yogacara or Chitta Matra in Tibetan, what do we say? Semzamba. Everything is the nature of the mind, part of the mind. And Semzam, Tibetan word, Semzam is only the mind. Mind is part of mind's creation. And Madhyamika also had the same view, and especially Prasangika Madhyamika, and assert that everything is labels, imputed by our mind. From the object side, there is nothing exists truly or inherently, or nothing exists by itself. Everything is mind imputing, label. That same day, same in the USA or Tuman lowest thing issues, you transform. Same la Toma Yomare, Tama Yomare, same Damban the Niji Jung, the Niji Jongore Sagi, Yizisha Yomare, Mahumba, same the Niji, Meocha, La, Nuri, don't do say, Niki Yomare, Sanji Song Yomare. All that mind goes same la Toma, the Tama Yomare. And the church tamji simji ranging, simji danis, not the Bejan Lawa, church tamji, Jiting, church Tama. Simjira, he sim social, log social. Simzamba said, Simzamba said, Kamsum dini, Simzam mo. Kamsum, Zugam, Zume, Doham Sama, Simgira, he is what. Some Kamsum, Simzam mos. Simzam, Tawatindiro, the Uma and Uma Tanju, Chutamji, Tobe thousand, the Demadua, the Rangitua. Yomare, or that indeed occurs to say Maitreya Buddha state, mind is like water. The true nature is pure. Water can be temporarily impure, but it can always be purified. So, Maitreya Buddha's text. Mahayana Uttaratantra, Yulama, Tibetan word text Yulama, Yulama nang soyra, Jawa Chambagi, Chamchude Ngayora, Yulama, Dodiji, Utanamji, Chuin Namji, what to Chenda, Mondoji, Chamchude Nga, Mondoji, Chuin Namji, Utanamji, Dodiji, Tangare Swa, what the Chamchude Nga, Jawa Chamba. So Papa Tamija Gadin Shing pen any long up juice you did ma Zambuling Mulma pen any Chamchu Denga the number then Lanzota Lujigo. Chamchu Dingen or Sade Yulamas. So there are 5 texts, treaties, excuse me, and teaching by Maitreya Buddha. And edited and compiled by Asanga. He went to the Pure Land, Maitreya Pure Land, Tushita Pure Land. He returned to the earth after 50 years. And then he made these books, texts available in Sanskrit and then translated into Tibetan from Sanskrit and by great lots of us in Tibet. And so one of the texts is called Mahayana Uttaratantra. Tibetan word is Yulama. So it talks about, explains about the Buddha nature, Tathagata Garba, that's Sanji Rik, somewhere Yulaminam, somewhere Ryu Chena Lujingo, that's Sanji Nimbo James, or the Ryu Chena Lujingos, Semjian Tamjing, Lujian Tamjila, then Sanji Nimbo, come the worship with Nimbo Yores, Ryu Chena Lujingo, that's Sanji Nimbo James. Rinchen Namka Chuda, Pedakin, Shiver Jas, or Rinchen Namka Chuda, Pedakin, Rimbuche, and the diamond, any chew, water, any Namka, Rinchen Namka Chuda, Pedakin, Shiver Jas, or the Sanji read the same Pedala, the Chuche, Namka, Rimbuche, Sumo, or the song. That Rinpoche ngune doji phalam jala nanglo la dine sad do tine yo mare. Nega ban sad do yo de yorwa. Chu ina nega chu tobo chagarwa. Ina tsangma che yorwa. Chu korang la yin la timba tobo yo mare. Nangka tungbare, nangka la dine timba la da towa da dine pollution de zawani yo mare. Nangka korang. Da timba da towa zan dogo yor pando chundro jin menduwa. So here Maitreya Buddha explains about 3 examples. The mind is like the sky, it's like empty, and no beginning, no end, no pollutions, no smoke, no dust. The pollutions, the smoke and dust are only temporary. Since the COVID-19 came, a lot of the pollutions are already gone now. You can see the Himalayas, you can see skies in the big, above the big polluted cities in the world. First time. Nature is kind of relieved some ways, and this is what I call the obstacle blessings. And so how this is how it works. And so sky, this means sky is always clear and pure. Water is always pure. True nature of the water is pure, and only temporarily the water is polluted, and therefore you can treat water. We have lots of technology and water management, and you can drink the polluted water again. And likewise, true diamond is diamond, pure, and there's no dirt, there is no other substance. And as long as a pure diamond, not fake diamond, there are lots of fake diamonds in the world, and people are fooled by the fake diamond dealers. But we don't have to worry about diamonds, and we don't purchase diamonds. I'm not interested in diamonds, and that's the last thing I want on earth, diamonds. And maybe somebody give me a diamond, I will offer to the Buddha. I will put it inside the stupa, and I offer to the Buddha's forehead. And this is what we should do, and that's the right thing to do. Otherwise, I'm not interested in diamonds. So these are the examples of the mind. Okay, and then now I will go through a little bit here. Another good definition of mind is knower and cognizer. Mind can be both subject and object. There is no knower for mind other than the mind itself. So the mind has no knower, perceiver, other than mind itself. Mind knows itself, and there's no other object. Right? When you meditate on mind, your own mind. Okay. Same tola, same what the same gom, same la gom jebe kabla, same shingi de, same korama the same member jige same shingi yomarawa. Same kora, you de assembly, Eugene de assembly. Same ge same to or ma shinda ji yomare. Pena jala ju jala dodo ji glass da ji da man ji pajo del dodo ji shan del ye ji de nang e glass thong songs. Ne chu thong song, chu glass ka thong songs. Shigero. But the next on the chene, sim the manda jig kaso them, dujeji, yomari, sim korana. So there is no mind other than the mind. The mind is the object of the mind. And therefore, in the Heart Sutra states, true nature of the mind and true nature of the mind is emptiness. Emptiness is also mind. There is no mind other than emptiness. There is no emptiness other than mind. Likewise, form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. That once share nimbo na sungdo zu tungba ni zu le tungba ni zu imai na tejin na so bishi da bishi na bishi. Otis zu tungba ni zu so zu tungba ni ye mai zu tungba da zu kanga de ra ye maru de ma maru tungba ni res. Zu tungba ni zu so da tungba ni de zu res. Kaisena zu kona tungji ji kang digang tumbani zu tumba ni se joro ti zu mena zu tumba ni yomarwa tungji mena ne tungni khwai mar ro o zu tumba ni zu le ji tumba ni yemai zu meba tumba ni yomar tumba ni meba la zu ko yomar o tende je tene ji chowa den ji den duji number chama den res also so like that. According to Heart Sutra, says form is emptiness. Emptiness is also form. Likewise, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. I'm going a little bit too fast here. And so Heart Sutra states form is emptiness, right? So what does this mean? We have 5 skandhas, right? Form, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness. 당간적으로 풍봉하여라. 쭉 풍봉, 소위 풍봉, 리시 풍봉, 리시 풍봉, 남배시 풍봉하여. 풍봉하하되 내가 이제 말이고 대박 말이고 샤다래. 쭉 동바오, 동바니 zuzu, 동바니 되긴 처음 리시 남배시. So when you meditate on form, you experience form is empty because form doesn't exist inherently. This form of mind, my body, from top of my head to the bottom of my feet, what I call this my body, my face, my hand, my this and that. Everything is compositional phenomena. Everything is dependent arising. And then you input the label on it. Then you say, this is my body. And in a classical text, talk about the horse card. And I explain, I give example like a automobile. You have Toyota, you have Honda, you have Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and GM, this and that. So these cars, they have different labels. There's labels imputed. So when you look at Hyundai and Honda, even as the words are close. One is Japanese word, Honda. The other one is a Korean word, Hyundai. Maybe I'm not saying correctly, and it doesn't matter. It's just words. And they're all cars. You input it in the labels, right? And then it becomes a Honda. Otherwise, you take out the label, and then you don't know what kind of car is this. Only the mechanic knows. You took out the labels, right? Or you can take part and switching the part, like some people I heard do that. And I don't want to talk about who does that, and better not to talk about. And anyway, so imputing labels, right? And and then you put when you take out all the parts, engine, muffler, and transmission, this and that, and take it apart, there is no car, just car parts in the garage. When you put together and then tune up, and then everything then nice, good quality car, right? And you can make it good quality car. So that indeed, Beijing nala the Xingda Beishag Yarwa, Tisanta Pedisha Yashidikas Motra, Toyota, Hyundai singing that, then Kia singing that, then Mangodoa. Or that the Fiat, the motor saying the motor say the motor chala to do in Zen and Ming Tani motor than the Toyota singing the Chawa. Or then the Towe somebody or the two race. Form is emptiness. This is emptiness and interdependent arising. There is no form other than emptiness. No emptiness other than form. So I will leave it here now. We have 5 minutes for time for question and answer. And this afternoon, when I go through the Lojong text, I will explain a little bit more Mahamudra about mind, because Lojong means Lo is mind, right? So transferring the conscious, transforming, training the mind. So I would like to explain a little bit more Mahamudra this afternoon. So I leave it here for now. If you have any questions about mind, fullness of mind, Mahamudra, you are most welcome.
Wonderful. Very clear, very concise teaching. Thank you. Very mind-blowing.
Welcome.
So just waiting for some questions now, please. While we're waiting for some questions, Rinpoche, I wonder if you could make a comment on when we're observing the mind. What I was reading recently was about attachment and aversion, and so I was applying this to my observing of the mind and watching how it attached to the thought or attached to seeing it, and then have the aversion sometimes also of pushing away my spaciousness to try and increase that. And so I was wondering if you comment about when you're doing the observation mind, about attachment to watching it or aversion to pushing and letting the mind kind of subdue it.
Yeah, well, then that means you are not doing proper Mahamudra.
Exactly.
So what you are,
balance, right?
well, you don't have to try to balance it here. You don't trying to. It's Teloba said, Mahamudra, no pushing, no pulling, and whatever happens, you observe that. Don't push away aversion mind. Don't push away attachment mind. Don't pulling or trying to bring towards you about some awesome ideas. Don't do that. Just whatever happens, observe. You don't have to balance. It will balance by itself. Once the all the obstacles or defilements fall apart, then it will balance itself.
Okay, thank you. Tom Troughton asks, Rinpoche, are the mind that is the object and the mind that is observing the same entity?
Mind is the object.
And mind is the subject.
Mind is subject, yes. They are the same entity, yeah, same essence.
Yes.
Yes.
Oya asks, is the emptiness of consciousness different or distinguished from the emptiness, or is clear light always the same emptiness?
Question is, say repeat that question again.
Is the emptiness of consciousness different or distinguished from other emptinesses? Or is clear light emptiness always the same?
Well, your question is not very clear. First question, it looks like there's two questions here. First part is you're saying, is emptiness of mind is different? Yes, different. Emptiness of mind different. There are 16 different kinds of emptiness. There's 20 different kinds of emptiness. There's many different kinds of emptiness. So the emptiness of mind is different than, say, emptiness of something else. There's always different. But in essence, they're all emptiness. What makes a difference is the base of emptiness is different. When I'm talking about emptiness of glass of water, emptiness of thermos of coffee, both are, the two emptiness are the same emptiness. But the base of the emptiness is different. Therefore, it makes a different kind of emptiness in your mind. Yeah, this is a glass of water, emptiness of water. Here is the emptiness of coffee, and I'm drinking coffee. Oh, they're a little different, but not different. Both are emptiness.
Okay, thank you. So Ben Hume asks, what is it when a resentment or thought comes back very often? So if you have recurring thoughts, and kind of like, imagine it's like an obsessive thing that keeps coming and coming and coming, and you can't seem to just let it go.
So question is, what is that, or why is that? What is
it when that happens?
What is it? It's a resentment. That's what it is, resentment. So, well, you know that resentment. So then what you do is you recognize this is resentment. Okay, keep recognizing, and then then you try to understand emptiness of resentment. Okay, you resentment. Now you have to do a little bit of analytical meditation. What is resentment? My mind got resentment. I'm resenting what? And resenting something, like someone says, oh, you must drink coffee. You must drink coffee. You say, no, I don't want to drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. You're resenting, right? So that doesn't mean that you have to follow that person's suggestion. You have to drink coffee, but you just say, I don't. I want to know why I'm resenting, or what is the resentment. Okay, that's fine. I know why I'm resenting. I don't want coffee. That's fine. It's my choice. So I give up the resentment, and I also don't drink coffee at the same time, and just let it go. Forget about the whole thing, and drink lots of water, or drink green tea or something else. Move on. Yeah. So you recognize resentment is resentment, and then the question is, you want to keep this resentment, or you want to sort of eliminate this resentment. So from Mahamudra approaches, you keep looking at the resentment, and then some point you get tired of this resentment. Naturally, resentment will renounce you, or you renounce resentment. Something will happen to you. So you keep looking at resentment, right? Oh, I got resentment to this person. I got resentment, and then after a while you say, I really don't need this resentment. Goodbye, resentment.
So just investigating deeper and deeper and deeper into it.
Well, you don't have to do so much analyzing. You just keep looking at, and then the other point is that you learn something from this resentment. You realize how your mind is resenting, but there's also beauty of resentment. It's not always black and white. Usually, resentment is some kind of negative thing, right? So, is there any virtues of being resenting? Yes. And you have a whole bunch of friends hanging out there said, hey, you should smoke dope. And you say, no, I don't want to smoke dope. I'm resenting. Well, that's good resentment, right? And there's a resentment can be either way, positive or negative. Or somebody said to you, hey, you should meditate, practice mindfulness. You keep saying, no, I don't want to meditate. I don't want to meditate. That's a resentment, right? So that resentment is not very good resentment, He's, why not meditate? So resentment is not always black and white, not always a negative thing. So you have to think about this. What kind of resentment you have? Some resentment also can be useful. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. So Tom Troughton asks for a follow-up question. I thought consciousness was produced by contact between an object and organ. These seem to be different entities. How is the mind in contact with itself?
You thought consciousness is produced by contact?
Between an object and the organ. I think he's talking about body.
Right.
Mindfulness, yeah.
Right.
And so these are two different entities. So how is the mind in contact with itself, both object and subject?
How the mind is contact to the subject and object?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, so he's asking.
Well, mind is contact to this object and subject. It occurs naturally. It occurs naturally, and there's a different ways of occurring. Some things occurring due to the habit, due to past experience. Automatically, you are experiencing the contact due to the contact, or there is the tendency, there is the habit. It's just naturally occurring, repeating by itself, coming when you're getting close to the object, right? And then it happens, and then some other times you, in your mind, deliberately, you are contact, you have the intention to contact, and then you wish to contact, and then you are approaching, and then this sort of thing happens. So there's different ways of experiencing the mind with the contact and contacting. I think something is not right with the video now. It's getting slower, and see, like my hand. Look, I can't even see my hand. It's slow motion.
A little bit of lag there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some technical problem. Yeah. So I will leave it here now, and thank you very much, and see you later on. Thank you. See. So.